What's going on, guys? It's Cole. So I am officially back into my projects, and I'm gonna be starting with my 250 here, just because it is hopefully the easiest fix. Hopefully we just have to adjust the valves and maybe tighten the cam chain. I'm not sure yet, though. I actually haven't had this thing apart at all so far because I just got it like 2 weeks ago. So this is the 2007 Ninja 250. It's got 14,000 miles, and he said there's something wrong with the motor. So first thing I'm gonna do is tear off all the fairings and tank and stuff. Alright, so we cleaned the cam chain tensioner and then we adjusted the valves. And guess what, guys? Now it has like no oil in it, and I don't know why it's idling so high. It's probably something with the carburetors. So yeah, we're gonna change the oil, put some more coolant in it, and then charge the battery. And we will see tomorrow or later today on what we should do. So yeah, just got it started for the first time. Booyah. This thing's gonna be running by next week. Let's go. All right, so that is what I've got so far in this. I will update if we do more tonight, or I'll just post what we've got so far. See ya. Okay guys, it is now Tuesday. I didn't get to anything last night. Basically what I did is I just took off the cam chain tensioner. That's right here, this right here. And you just gotta take off these two bolts, and that was pretty dirty, so I gave it a clean. I put it back in, tightened it up good, and then I adjusted my valves, and I should have made a video on it. Sorry I didn't do that, but basically you take off these two bolts here, and then there's two bolts there, and this thing will just pop right off. And then to adjust your valves, you just need to get feeler gauges. I'll show you what those kind of look like right here. So these are the feeler gauges. So there's all these different sizes. You'll have to look up the specs for your bike. For the 250s, the Ninja 250s, most of them are going to be the 0.004 to 0.006 is what you're going to want for these to adjust the valves. And you'll have to loosen it with a socket, and then you loosen it with a screwdriver, and then you just tighten it back up. It's really not that hard. If you search a video on YouTube, you'll see it's pretty easy. And that a lot of the time that's the issue, if it just keeps turning over and you have spark and everything, and it's like really close to starting but it still isn't. Usually you adjust your valves and that's all good. The cam chain tensioner, usually you'll want to clean that when you kind of hear a rattling, or you can obviously see your cam chain is loose. My cam chain was super loose. I could almost take it off of it, so that needed a major cleaning. So now what I'm gonna do, since the bike is idling so high, so the one thing is the tank is clogged, so no gas is coming out. So I've got my extra gas tank on here, and it is idling super high. So it's something with the carburetor. It probably just needs cleaned. I might have to get a new one, who knows. But it's idling at like 7,000, and my idle adjustment is all the way tight, so it shouldn't be idling like at all. It should be dying, but it's not. So gas is still getting through, so I might just have to clean the carburetors and the floats and all that. So I'm gonna do that now, and I'll show you guys how to take off your carbs and clean those, and kind of what I do to go through all that. Alright, since I didn't show you guys how to actually take the fairings off, I'm just going to show you quick here on this bike. So for the front fairing, there's going to be these two right here. These two connecting to the belly fairing. Looks like one fell out. You're gonna have to take your mirrors off. There's this bolt, and then they are kind of clipped in there with a clip. And it's the same on this side. So once you take those two out, there's one more in the corner there. And then you may or may not have one right here as well in the middle. And then for the side fairing, you just have to take off this one bolt. And then be very careful on pull out this side first, and be careful because these tabs will break off pretty easily. That's the same for both sides. Then you want to take your seat off, and then you do not need to take off this rear fairing. But to take the gas tank off, depending on what bolts you have, those will be two bolts right here that you take off. And then you want to make sure you unconnect your fuel line and your vacuum line right here. So you want to pull those off and then take your tank off. Once you get the tank off, you do have a few options. It would be a little bit easier but take more time if you were to take this mud guard off. And there's two bolts here, and then there's two bolts under the battery as well. Or you could, depending on how flexible these are right here, like this bike's a 2007 that's been stored inside, so these are pretty flexible still. But if yours are pretty stiff for an older bike, it's probably going to be really, really hard to try to get the carb out. So if you have factory carbs and stuff, they're going to be pretty easy. There's just this little spring wire here that's holding it. You just got to slide that back to the second one. And then this will just have a little bolt right here you got to loosen. And then you want to take off your choke cable and both of your throttle cables. And for these, you just want to loosen this just counterclockwise, and then you can just pull it up and hook it off right there. We've got the carburetor out now. So in order to clean these, you'll need to take off the bottom float bowls and also this top here. For the bottom, there's just these 4 screws on each side, and then this will pop right off the bottom well. And then for the top, it's the same thing. And then you'll also want to take off this one right here, these 2 screws. And then I recommend taking off these 3 hoses. You can take off the rest if you want, but they are pretty tricky to get back on there. I would take this one off as well. Alright, so I've got the carbs back together. Couple things you want to look for is if your carbs are like rounded out right here, don't try to loosen them, because this thing will drip all the time. You'll have to get replacements. If it is dripping and they're stripped out, then you can just try to tighten them with something. So yeah, I got that. Usually the air mixture screws, since these bikes are pretty old, they're usually already taken out. There's usually this little metal cap on top, but if yours still has the little cap on top, you can just take a small drill and then drill it right through and just pick it off. I think factory, they set them at 2 turns, and apparently that's kind of lean for the bike. So you want to set yours to 2.5 for maximum, like good idle. Like I said, these were at like 5 or 6 turns, so that's why my bike was almost exploding. So I'm gonna put these hoses back on and slap it back on the bike, and we're gonna see if it can idle good. So guys, I found my issue. It was the air fuel mixture screws, and so I just put everything back together and fixed that and threw it on the bike and put it all back together. It took me about an hour, and now the carbs are leaking. So I basically did all that for nothing. This is why you clean everything the first time. So I am going to be showing you guys how to take all this apart and clean it. Cause yeah, I put everything back together. I got it idling good, but there was leaking carb. It was on the right side. Not really sure. I think I'll probably just clean it, put it back together. If it happens again, then that sucks, but I'll just get a rebuild kit. It's whatever. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off these jets right here and in here, and then there's also one in here. So I'm gonna take those 3 out. I'm gonna take these floats out, and how you do that is there is a little thing you have to push right there. You can do it with like just a paper clip or anything. And then the float needle right here, you will want to take that off as well. So I'm gonna do that quick. All right, guys, so I actually found my issue. Other than the air and fuel mixture, one of the jets as well was completely loose. That's why it was leaking. I put it back on and now it runs. So I mean, it's running, but it's got some noise in the engine. Not sure what it is. So, hey, it does run. Mission complete. I'll have to find out what people think the noise is and go from there. So I'm gonna put this all back together and then we'll be on to the next project. All right, so the gas tank is still an issue. The petcock is plugged on vacuum or the gas, I'm not sure which, but that's making this idle really high. So that's gonna have to wait until another day. Probably have to get a replacement for the petcock or clean it out really good. So I will not be putting the plastics on, but I would say this project's pretty complete. Since I got it running, I got it idling good, carbs are good, everything's good. So that is that. Probably make a video with the gas tank and then putting it back on, and then I'll probably switch my other projects for now. So that is this Ninja. It's a 2007 250, and it's running and idling good. So mission complete. One last side note, just so you guys know what my next project's gonna be. I'm gonna be working on my ZX6. As of right now, we have just a switch issue we need to work on. And then I need to clean the carbs, and well, it doesn't have a good battery. So I'm gonna be taking the battery out of this one. This bike is on hold currently. I am gonna end up going to the one state I haven't been to for bikes or bike parts, Minnesota. It's about 4 hours away. I'm getting a really good deal for a full exhaust system. This one doesn't even have a slip-on muffler on it. But I'm gonna be getting basically a whole fairing set. It needs work, but I mean, I'll have it. I'll have the full set. So I'll have the fairings on this thing. And I'm getting the starter, so I should be able to use the starter switch now once I get it. And then I'm getting the OEM airbox because I'm not a fan of pods. Carbs will get cleaned. The guy bought a new valve cover gasket, and it's falling in some places because he did it wrong. He didn't know what he was doing. So I'll be fixing that. So this bike's gonna be on hold for probably another week. I'm not entirely sure when I'm getting that stuff. Maybe Saturday, I don't know. Maybe next week, who knows. Probably next weekend. And then, not sure, I'm waiting. I just applied for bonded titles for this frame, and then these two frames, and then I have a frame upstairs for a Katana I'm parting out. So if I get denied the title, I'm gonna be tearing this bike apart and piecing it out. If they grant me the bonded title, I'm just going to sell it as is. Because these frames go for a decent amount once they're titled. And then I'm not sure when I'll be working on my bike on building. Just depend. If I don't really want to work on tearing in the stuff, and just building's pretty easy. I just got to get the bolts and stuff because I already have all the parts. So might just have a laid back day or some more content, so you guys get more broad viewers. So yeah, this bike's complete now. Engine's a little noisy, not sure what it is, but I mean it's running. So probably, I was considering keeping this one, but with the engine noise now, I'm probably just going to sell it. I don't know if that's going to be an issue in the future. Probably is, but it could just be just noise. I don't know. I'll have to research it a little bit. Gas tank will probably need a new petcock. And then this one will look good. It's got low miles, so that one will sell fairly quick probably. I won't list it for too expensive. So I'm probably going to end up keeping this blue one to ride. Fun fact, I have never been on the road before with my bikes. I got them, I fixed them, and then I got rid of the 2 bikes I would have ridden on the road because they were pretty crappy. But I mean, I don't want to ride this on the road and then tip it over and crack all the fairing work and stuff, because it's got a custom paint job, and you know, it makes it more expensive. So I don't want to mess with me like smashing mirrors or anything. So this one's gonna wait. I'm taking a safety course beginning in July. So once I do that and I'm comfortable, then I'll be taking this one on the road. I think I'll have my GoPro by next week, so hopefully this week. So I'll get some videos with the GoPro, a few things. I've ridden this on the road. It's Honda 3-wheeler, pretty fun. It actually goes decently fast. It's a 200cc and a 180 body, so it's a small bike with a big engine. It's pretty fast. I think I had it going 30 on the highway. So yeah, I'll be working on this bike now. Actually, I'll probably work on this one. I'll be working on this one. I need to get oil and stuff and coolant, and it's going to take a while to sort out all the fairings and stuff. So I'll probably just end up finishing this one. I just need to probably clean the petcock. It's not rusting there at all, so at least what I can see. So it's probably just gunked up. I just need to put it in some chem dip. So that one should be good. Bike will be running complete. That's probably the next thing I'm going to do. I'll slowly be working on this one. This one, as of now, it's turning over. We didn't have a battery, but since I got that bike, they're both 600, so they'll run the same battery. So I'll have the battery, and then something's wrong with the gas tank. I don't know. It might be rusted shut. We can't get it open. So I'm going to have to crack that open from the bottom, see if I can get anything out, and then carbs will need clean, definitely. The bike's been sitting years and years. So I'll fix that. I'll put the new starter switch, wire it in, take off all the fairings to make it easier. So I'll make that video. I'll try to get even content within the bikes, just so you get more ideas if people are watching for their bikes or anything. So definitely 250, I'll be working on that, and then I'm working my ZX, and then once I get parts, I'll show you guys those. So for the FCR 600, I'll just keep updating you guys, so hopefully you like what I've been doing. If you have any questions, I've had these Ninja 250s literally down to the frames, and so if you have any questions, I can probably help you out with them. And parts too, I've got a ton of parts. If you guys are needing parts, I've got carburetors and harnesses, clutch levers, basically anything. I've even got extra tires and stuff. So if you guys need anything, just let me know, or if you have questions. Any suggestions are helpful too. Any comments, if you guys want to just talk about bikes, whatever. I'm open to anything. So thank you guys for watching. It's my first complete bike out of my projects on this channel, this 250. So it's going to be the start of many. I'm actually looking at another bike. It might sell tomorrow. It's a 1990 Ninja 500cc. Dude doesn't know what he has, so I'll update you guys on what I get done. Thank you for watching, and if you like my projects, go ahead and, if you want to, subscribe, and you'll be updated on what I get done. So thank you guys. Peace out.